Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for almost daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 14th, 2025, and it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done this public YouTube thing, but here we are. And today I want to talk about what Bitcoin's doing. I want to talk about the state of altcoins, if things are still bullish for altcoins, as I stated in previous episodes, if we're indeed going into altcoin season and we should see a decoupling of altcoins from Bitcoin, all that stuff and more. If that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. So, I've been waiting for something to materialize. You develop trading theses and ideas about what's likely going to happen. You do your best guess based off of all the data on the chart, off chart, whatever. And you say, okay, here's my trading thesis. And then you wait. You just have to wait for something to play out. And so, I don't know why, but these past few days have been particularly empty. Empty in the sense that nothing concrete has happened. You can see this in particular in the altcoin space, okay? When we're going to look at altcoins in a moment, you'll see exactly what I mean. You're going sideways. You're not doing anything. Bitcoin seems to have picked a side, seems to have gone in a certain direction, which freaks some people out, but it didn't do that. It almost did, but it didn't do that. So I want to talk more about that. And basically what I'm doing, my method is, okay, wait and see what was right and follow it up from there. But there's really nothing much to say once you develop the trade thesis and you wait for proof of concept. You need to wait for proof of concept. You need for something to happen before elaborating on whether or not your trade thesis was correct or even close or wrong, right? So here we are at the 11th hour, and I'll tell you why I'm saying it's the 11th hour in just a moment. And Bitcoin seems to be bouncing. But if it doesn't bounce here, this entire flat correction that I've been talking about, right? This purple ABC, let's just make it more visible so you guys can really see what I'm talking about. This right here, if we don't get this bounce at this point here, then this is off the table. It doesn't work. Okay? So basically, for those of you who don't know and you're new here, welcome. Here is what I'm seeing. Since the 10th, what we've done is we've bounced, right? We went down all the way down to the bottom of this 100+ day channel. We bounced, and that was your initial break, your A wave. Since then, and I mean ever since then, so like the 10th, today is the 14th of I was talking about the 10th of October, right? Today is the 14th of November. So it's been 30+ days we've been in this. Okay? So I understand why certain people are like, oh, Bitcoin's definitely going down. It's going down. And some people message me saying, hey, is this the move you've been talking about for a while? Like, you're one of the few who's been saying Bitcoin's due for a major retracement. Is this the beginning? I say no, not quite yet. Because for me, when I look at this chart, this is all a B wave. Look, A, B, and all of this is my impulse down. Last episode, I believe, we were around here. It's probably been 10 days or some that I've done. one of these shows, and I thought this was it. This was the bounce. This was where we were gonna come up, finish this flat correction like this, and then head down. But what happened? You get an intra-wave correction, we can say that now, and then a final capitulative move down. So to me, at first, I thought this was, okay, maybe this is some mini accumulation, and then we go into the C wave. But typically in these flat corrections, you may get a very small time frame accumulation, but not anything like this, right? It'll seem on the higher time frame to be immediate, okay? You won't get something like this, but I was like, I don't see any reason why it doesn't bounce from here and go. It didn't. It failed. Does this mean we're wrong? Yes and no. It doesn't invalidate the trade thesis. That's very important. I'm going to get to that in a second. Technically, it doesn't invalidate the trade thesis based off of where we're at right now. But this is for sure unexpected, but you typically get the unexpected. And it's ugly, and it's a max pain thing. So maybe it's not unexpected, because 116 is the clear target. This is very, very clear. A wave, B wave, and then you need another C wave. What you see in this Bitcoin chart is the B wave, instead of finishing here, went all the way down here, which is still illegal, technically, because if you pull your Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom of this A wave all the way to the top, look at where your 1618, your 1618, for those of you who don't know, is your phi ratio. That invalidates a B wave. A B wave never retraces beyond the 1618 of an A wave. That right here is at 94,367. We're currently at 95,000 and some change. The bounce occurred a hair above the 1618 invalidation. And I was talking to a client yesterday or 2 days ago, I think, yesterday maybe. And during the session, I was like, I remember remarking that Bitcoin tends to go the distance. I've seen Bitcoin do this before, where a few more dollars and it's invalidating the entire setup, but Bitcoin kind of plays with extremes. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just that market in particular has a tendency to do that. Different markets have different tendencies based off of their liquidity, based off of, a number of things. So as an analyst who has dealt with this before with Bitcoin, that isn't out of the ordinary to me. Also, as an analyst, understanding that a B wave that goes all the way down to 95 is a max pain scenario, i.e., it grabs the liquidity from people knowing that you're likely in for a bounce because you go 1, 2, 3. Everybody kind of knows that. And 2, it grabs the liquidity from people, or it kind of grabs liquidity from people thinking it's over and getting into shorts here. Because now, if liquidity builds, and I'm not going to look at it during this episode, but feel free to go on CoinGlass and look at the liquidity heat maps. But I don't doubt that a bunch of liquidity in the recent past has developed in this area from people, and this area from people thinking we're finished. And this move to the upside that we've been talking about is going to trap a bunch of shorts. So it's a max pain scenario. The longs get rinsed there. Now the shorts get rinsed. Okay. So that's Bitcoin. Technically still valid. So technically we're still in this sideways flat correction. Nothing's been determined as of yet. But this is a hell of a B wave. And remember, when I say it's a B wave, look, A, this is this is clearly B of B. And now look at this. Look at the nature of this purported impulse. Impulse 618 retracement. Impulse 618 retracement. Final capitulative move. I mean, that looks to me like a 5-wave move. That looks to me like a completed impulse. That looks to me like the C wave. If I look at this B wave and I just break it down, A, B, C. But now what you have, and I want you to focus on the purple flat correction now, you have what we call an expanded flat correction, which again is actually common. The expanded flat is common. This is why I'm still of the belief that 116 is still our target. You can make the argument that since the B wave came down so much here, there's a lot of selling pressure. Bitcoin's quite bearish, and we know that on the high time frame it's really bearish. And so some people may think, oh, we're in for a running flat. I'm going to look for it. I'm going to be very, very careful with assuming that 116 is in the books, given that we came down here. I'm going to look for the rare running flat correction. Running flat correction, you can look it up on Investopedia, but essentially it would look something like this. But the running flat versus the expanded flat is much more rare. It's exceedingly rare. And it only takes place in really bearish environments if you're looking at a downside running flat correction. And this is a quite bearish flat environment. So I'm going to look out for it, but I still think we get the expanding flat only because there's so much money in Bitcoin. There's so much liquidity, and that short squeeze probably takes us to our target of 116. So I'm still of the belief that 116 is our target, and I'm looking out for that expanded flat like so. Okay? So technically we're still in it. And I think we stay in this, and we do get that bounce that we've discussed. Now on the smaller time frames, just zooming in here, this seems to be some sort of reversal pattern materializing. So yeah, I don't see Bitcoin continuing to dump without a significant correction, just given the high time frame read on the previous 30 plus days of price action, giving you a move up, a combined move down, which is a B wave, which is counter to the initial move. The initial bounce was up, down. I need another move up before saying this entire thing is finished. And I understand that corrective waves, corrective patterns don't go without 1, 2, 3. And I think it's quite clear. I just have 1, 2. There in no way, shape, or form is this a C wave. This is clearly a B wave. And so this also has to be part and parcel of this larger B wave. That's my analysis for Bitcoin. Now, so technically, I think you can understand from what I just said, Bitcoin hasn't really done much. It's gone down in price, but technically, we haven't broken structure. We're still in this flat correction. It is yet to, give us that impulse up that I've been talking about, that I've been saying is coming, it's coming. It hasn't come yet. As a result, because we do not have the fuel from Bitcoin, altcoins are also kind of just waiting for Bitcoin to bounce. And that's the issue, or that's the deal, that's a situation I'm seeing with altcoins. But altcoins, instead of going, and making lower lows like Bitcoin, you see for the past 30 plus days, altcoins have been pretty much sideways. I mean, really sideways. This underscores my trade thesis in that things are changing. So like, I really want you, before we look at the dominance chart, I really want you to understand. Look at Bitcoin once more. Same, we're doing apples to apples comparison. This is Bitcoin past 30 days. Look what it looks like. Okay, it's quite clearly, especially since for the past 2 weeks, look at Bitcoin. For the past 2 weeks, it's just been dumping in an impulse, quite literally an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-wave moves to the downside, right? That's the past, let's just compare past 2 weeks, right? Whereas altcoins for the past 2 weeks have done what? So beginning of November, look, you're essentially in a running flat to the upside. Do you see that? And remember, running flats are very rare. The only way you get runners is in very strong environments. So here we're going up, so you have a lot of buying pressure. Do you see here, A, B, C? The C wave doesn't meet the origination of the A wave. So that's a running flat. That wave, that C wave is finished. Once you see that, you know that your macro environment, the higher time frame read, is really bullish or really bearish. So you look at Bitcoin, it's really bearish macro environment. We know that because we've zoomed out and we've looked at it, over the course of many, many months. And our thesis for a while now has been, okay, altcoins are going to lead the way. They're going to usher in the beginning of alt season, and they're particularly bullish. And it breaks the brain because people have been in Bitcoin season for so long, and they assume Bitcoin leads the market, altcoins follow. It's perpetually Bitcoin season. But this is proof in the chart. If it was always Bitcoin season, how do you explain a running flat in the same comparison? So we're comparing 2 weeks of price action. Bitcoin's going down hard, and altcoins are not only stable, going sideways, but they're executing a running flat, which expresses a very bullish environment. So before even looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, I want you to understand why you should be bullish on altcoins despite the mind-numbingly boring sideways price action. All right. Again, I don't come on here to do like, what do they call it? This isn't a motivational like BTFD, buy the effing dip, and, conviction, and, there's a place for that. But I'm not here telling you should do it. You just believe. Like, no, look at the data. This exercise, the whole purpose of this show is to offer analysis based off of what I'm seeing, and chart data is the cleanest, most straightforward, most primary level of data that we have available. It's essentially people's habits of buying and selling the assets over time. It's as simple as it gets. So when I'm reaching conclusions based off of that, that's it. It's not a belief as much. Yeah, I believe based off of the data, but I'm presenting the data. You draw your own conclusions. My conclusion is I'm really bullish on altcoins, generally speaking. Not all altcoins, but generally speaking, given what I'm seeing on the charts. Now, to end the show, I'm going to show you the Bitcoin dominance chart, which reflects what we just showed. So Bitcoin dominance, remember, if it goes down, it's altcoin season. If it trends down, it's altcoin season. If it goes up, it's Bitcoin season. So Bitcoin season means what? Bitcoin is going up, altcoins aren't doing much. Bitcoin's going down, altcoins are dying. Bitcoin or altcoin season is the opposite. Bitcoin's going down, altcoins are kind of going sideways. Bitcoin looks up, altcoins fly. So Bitcoin dominance going down, trending down, is indicative of altcoin season. And what do we see here? Again, this is not, hey guys, I'm the guy who convinces you to invest in crypto. Like, I don't fucking care what you do. You do what you want. I'm just showing you my analysis. This, you do with it what you will. Like, stop, going in the comments telling me I told you to do this. I told you, I didn't tell you to do shit. Like, you do what you want. I'm presenting my data. If you don't like it, go to another channel or stop watching. Close your eyes, right? Like, what are you doing? So don't waste your breath, waste your time commenting how my analysis sucks. You don't like it, like, go away. So this right here is trending down, and it has been trending down since June. Okay, I always talk about this. The beginning of alt season was technically June. We didn't feel it. We haven't felt it yet. But here's where you feel it. Look, A, B, C. You feel it on the impulse, the last wave of the corrective pattern, which ushers in the impulse. A waves corrective, B waves corrective, C waves impulsive. Always W, X, Y, A, B, C. This is a zigzag. Talked about this before. You are hitting the C wave. This right here is the beginning of you feeling and seeing altcoins bludgeoning Bitcoin. Okay? It's clear as day. There's no argument about that, right? You can argue about a lot of things, but like, one of the things I love about price action is it's right there in red and green. It's right there. You see the trend. This doesn't happen in Bitcoin season. You do not get that. That right here is going to be big moves in altcoins. Okay, so that's it. The analysis hasn't changed much. Bitcoin's been annoying. Altcoins have been annoying. The market's been a nightmare. All that is true, but my general trade thesis remains intact. Guys, if you found that helpful, useful, like, share, and subscribe. Buy me a coffee, link below for crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service. If you want to join the trading group and trade directly with me, have, sort of round the clock access through email, 2-hour meetings per month, and portfolio tracking, where we identify levels where you can buy and sell to snowball profits and maximize your earnings in the crypto bull market. So that's crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service. Also, if you're not interested in making that kind of investment, or you don't want to trade a whole portfolio with me, you just want my take on one asset or one indicator or one metric, commodity, stock, whatever, make the payment. I think it's reasonably priced. The prices are going to go up once this move happens, because I don't see anybody else talking about this. Not like this. So right now it's 120. I think it's quite reasonable. Make the payment. You email me what it is you want me to look at, and I'll do my best, look at it on every time frame that I think is relevant, record the analysis, and send it back to you in your inbox within 24 hours. That's a single asset analysis service. Guys, take care. I hope you're well. And let's hope we get this move soon. Bye.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest. Magnanimous, we body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I